Shots fired at a shopping centre in Munich. Police say multiple people killed and injured. It happened in the last hour. We'll have the latest on this breaking story.
Also tonight, the boss of collapsed travel firm Low Cost Holidays breaks his silence to ITV News, but there's no direct apology to customers.
A dramatic fall in business confidence blamed on Brexit, with growing fears of a recession.
And the UK's first double hand transplant patient's joy at a successful operation.
It's better than any lottery win because you feel whole again.
This is the ITV Evening News with James Mates and Ranveer Singh.
Good evening. A major operation is underway in Germany after shots were fired at a shopping centre. Police say multiple people have been killed or injured.
The incident in Munich happened just within the last hour. We can show you some live pictures now from the scene outside the shopping centre there. A spokeswoman for Munich police has said that they believe they are dealing with a shooting rampage. Paul Davies now has the latest on this breaking story.
Families rush away from a shopping centre where there are reports of mass casualties after at least one gunman opened fire. The pictures you are watching were taken a short time ago by members of the public as the Olympic shopping mall in Munich became the centre of a major police operation, with conflicting numbers of casualties, but at least one death confirmed by the German authorities, though many more are feared. Munich appears to be the latest European city to experience an attack on unarmed civilians. The target is a popular shopping centre in the northwest of the city. It is now surrounded by armed police. Special forces are also at the scene, and one police source has talked of 15 deaths. There is no information about the attacker or attackers. There are said to be many injured, and the incident is still ongoing. It comes just days after an attack on passengers on a train, also in Bavaria. A teenager from Afghanistan critically wounded a number of people before being shot dead by police. In a video released after his death, the attacker had spoken of more attacks in German towns and cities. The latest manhunt in Munich tonight is still underway, with one witness saying a gunman has escaped into the metro system. Paul Davis, ITV News.
Well, we can show you now the scene in Munich. The police and emergency services flashing blue lights outside that shopping centre. We'll have more details throughout the programme, and you can keep up to date on any breaking lines from that story on our website, itv.com/news.
Elsewhere tonight, the boss of the low-cost holiday travel group, which went bust a week ago, has broken his silence to ITV News. Paul Evans said he and his staff have received threats, but he gave no direct apology to the thousands of customers who have lost out. Our consumer editor, Chris Choi, has this exclusive report.
Low-cost holidays ceased trading, leaving customers facing lost cash and lost holidays. Now, in his first comment since the firm's failure, the boss has told us he's been so unfairly treated, he's called the police. He says, "I've had threats to me, my staff and property that's been unfair, inaccurate and unacceptable. I've asked the police to look at these."
My name is Paul Evans and I am the CEO of the Low Cost Travel Group.
He's been attacked because the firm took money with this massive sale right up to the day the company failed. And customers like these want answers, but only now has the company boss spoken out in emails to ITV News.
There's so many questions, I just can't think. Where's our money? How has it been able to happen? What is he going to do to fix it?
There's literally no one to ask. That's the heartbreaking thing. Like, there's no one. All we've had to do, we didn't even get an email to our holiday been cancelled.
It's their first wedding anniversary, but they've had to pay an extra £6,000 for a large family trip to celebrate. And one line from Low Cost Holidays' boss made them livid. He says, "This is a devastating time for me, my family, the staff, their families, suppliers, travel agents and customers."
Nowhere in the email does he even say sorry. That should be the first thing he should really say, because he's going to sell his homes. What's he going to do so all the customers get their money back?
He cares about himself, he doesn't care about us.
Why go high cost when you can all go low cost? No wonder you're smiling.
Despite the glossy adverts, low-cost holidays hit trouble, and now its boss has given us new information on what went wrong. We worked right up to the last minute to find potential buyers. After meetings with 10 plus other companies over many months, we were forced to succumb as the negative sentiment post-Brexit overcame us. The email could worry regulators because other firms could suffer the same economic pressure and, like low-cost holidays, leave the financial protection known as ATOL, opting for the Spanish version.
ATOL provides a financial protection scheme to consumers who book air holidays.
Isn't it possible, with the economy being as it is, that more companies will try and shave costs by doing the same thing and leaving ATOL?
Well, it's possible that other companies will leave the United Kingdom, but I think people see the benefit of the scheme, consumers and travel companies.
The low-cost holidays boss has told us he is still working tirelessly to help, but its customers growing tired of all the stress. Chris Troy, ITV News.
The UK's decision to leave the EU is being blamed for economic sentiment falling to a 7-year low. The first significant set of survey data since the referendum has revealed a fall in expected output and orders. It came as new Chancellor Philip Hammond said he could reset economic policy if there is a downturn. Our Deputy Political Editor Chris Shipp has the details.
The economic impact of Brexit is fast becoming clear, just 4 weeks since we decided to leave the European Union. If today's figures are as reliable and as accurate as they've been in the past, they show an economy already contracting, which could roll into a possible recession. Businesses large and small are finding the short-term shock of Brexit tough going.
When the referendum results first came out, it was very quiet around here, because the investors weren't willing to commit. They didn't know what the value of the pound would be in the future. Also, none of our employees, who are European, actually a lot of them, none of them knew what the future holds for them.
And the immediate future isn't great, according to the Purchasing Managers' Index. That's a survey of 400 businesses. A score above 50 suggests the economy is expanding. Below 50, it's shrinking. This month's PMI was 47.7, a big fall from the month before Brexit and the lowest it's been since the 2009 financial crisis. The official GDP figures on the economy nearly always mirror the PMI when they come out several months later.
That is suggesting a contraction of the economy. If we continue at this level the rest of the third quarter, you're going to get the economy starting to turn down.
And if that goes on for at least 2 quarters, then that means the economy will be back into recession.
Maybe this is the start of that. Remains to be seen.
The big question then is how the new Chancellor will respond. Philip Hammond was in Beijing today, but not so far away that he couldn't be told about these figures. And if he has fewer tax receipts from a weaker economy, he may well have to push up borrowing and put George Osborne's plans in the bin.
It is an opportunity to reset policy. We've made clear that we're no longer pursuing the target of a budget surplus in 2019-20.
This particular business says it's more confident about the next few months than the last one. But by the autumn, the Chancellor will be expected to have stitched together a plan. And the reason why this particular index is so closely followed is because it's based on facts, not opinion, so on orders, on output, on employment. And it has previously proved to be a remarkably good predictor of what's going to happen to GDP. It's why in the city today the FTSE 100 fell sharply before recovering. But what no one seems to be able to answer tonight is whether this is just a short-term reaction to Brexit because no one was expecting it and it will now ease because we've got a new Prime Minister and new Chancellor, or whether in 6 months' time we'll be talking about a post-Brexit recession.
Chris, thank you very much indeed.
2 teachers at a school run by a Catholic religious order in Fife have been found guilty of historical child abuse. John Farrell and Paul Kelly were convicted of 11 offences involving 6 pupils. Our Scotland correspondent Peter Smith spoke to one victim who says he was just 11 when he was first abused.
St Ninian's in Fife was a Christian Brotherhood school run by a religious order within the Catholic Church. But in this school photograph, the faces of the children cannot be shown because of the abuse so many suffered here. This child was one of them. 3 decades on, He's now a husband, a father of 2, and he told me what went on in the care of those Christian brothers.
They would have their favourites, or we would nickname them pets, that they would take to their rooms at night time, and that's where they would stay until the next morning.
So this was children being taken into these rooms and they were spending the night with the teachers?
Yeah.
He was just 11 when they first came for him.
I was petrified, I was scared. There was no point in shouting or screaming because nobody would hear you. And if they did hear you, they would know what was going on, so screaming was pointless.
2 faces from that photograph can now be shown, John Farrell and Paul Kelly. Today they became the first Christian brothers to be convicted in Scotland for child abuse. But this is not the first time or place where the Brotherhood has been linked to such crimes. Over the last 30 years in Ireland, there have been 870 allegations against them, with 12 convictions. In Australia, an investigation found 853 children had been abused by the Christian Brothers, who paid out millions of pounds in compensation to victims there. And former pupils at St Ninians like David Sharp are still campaigning for their abusers to be prosecuted. He says he was taken out of this school in Fife to Ireland and passed around.
Until these people, the perpetrators, are caught, justice is done, and the Christian Brothers and the Catholic Church come out and show a meaningful apology, then I can't get on with my life.
The Brotherhood has not apologised for what happened in this school, but said they will cooperate with any further investigations. Farrell and Kelly stole innocence from children and left the deepest scars. They bragged to their victims that no one would listen to them against men of God. But finally, the children of St Ninians are being heard. Peter Smith, ITV News, Fife.
Still to come on the ITV Evening News, the latest on the shooting at a shopping centre in Munich. You are looking at live pictures where a major police operation is underway tonight and an evacuation of the shopping centre is continuing. Plus,
I am your voice.
Trump promises a safer America as he accepts the Republican presidential nomination. Those stories and more after the break.
welcome back. Let's return to tonight's breaking story, the shooting at a shopping centre in Munich in Germany. We're bringing you live pictures there of the scene outside where a major police operation is underway. The police there say multiple people have been killed or injured. Our security editor, Rohit Katru, is in the studio. Rohit, there is information coming in every minute. What have you learnt so far?
Well, the very latest that we're learning around there is that 3 people have now been confirmed dead in this attack this afternoon in Munich. There are some reports in Germany, though, which puts the death toll, the current death toll, higher. Some reports that perhaps as many as a dozen people have been killed. But as the police in Munich say, the situation is incredibly confused and they are still trying to work out precisely what is going on there. In fact, we've just received some pictures from the scene which give you a sense of the drama as this gunman opened fire. Let's listen in. And there are more pictures like this coming in all the time, circulating on social media. But the very latest is that 3 people confirmed dead.
And huge questions over security once again.
Absolutely. 7 days ago, we were talking about what happened in Nice. There was an attempted attack in Germany this week. This, the 3rd terrorist attack in mainland Europe. It seems, and the authorities in Munich and in Germany are now referring to this as terrorism. It does appear to be a marauding attack involving possibly more than 1 gunman.
OK, Rohit, thank you so much for bringing us up to date on that breaking news story tonight.
In a rousing presidential nomination speech, Donald Trump has portrayed America as a country in chaos, divided by crime and violence, with himself its only solution. He's also attacked his Democrat opponent, accusing Hillary Clinton of a legacy of death, destruction and terrorism and weakness. Our correspondent Robert Moore reports from the Republican Party convention in Cleveland.
Our next president, Donald J. Trump.
This has already been one of the most tumultuous and successful journeys in American political history. A man who's never held office, now in a position to utter these words.
I humbly and gratefully accept your nomination for the presidency of the United States.
His was a dark portrait of a country, his opponent judged to be a mortal danger to the Republic.
This is the legacy of Hillary Clinton. Death, destruction, terrorism, and weakness. In this race for the White House, I am the law and order candidate.
As a Manhattan tycoon, Trump has long paid off politicians.
Nobody knows the system better than me.
His life has been at the intersection of money and influence.
Which is why I alone can fix it.
A lone protester was drowned out by chance, but still made her message known before a TV audience of tens of millions. Whether you think Trump's protectionist and isolationist message is the answer,
our plan will put America first.
or whether you think he is a fraud, Trump has triumphed because he claims to speak for the ignored and the voiceless.
I am your voice. And we will make America great again.
This was maverick, vintage, populist Trump at his best. But the question remains here. Are there still enough angry, frustrated and fearful voters to take him all the way to the White House?
We will find out the answer over the next 3 months, but he's certainly connected here.
He brings to the table conversations that people have at home, and he brings it to the forefront and says what's on everybody's mind.
He's trying to bring people in because he speaks to the average person.
The idea of a blue-collar billionaire may seem improbable, but this is a man projecting himself, perhaps ominously, as America's saviour. Robert Moore, ITV News, Cleveland.
And finally, 3 years ago, Chris King lost all his fingers in an accident at work. Now a team of surgeons have successfully carried out Britain's first double hand transplant to give him 8 new ones. Sejal Carrier reports.
This is such a new lease of life.
It took 8 surgeons 12 hours to give Chris King the hands he so desperately missed in a pioneering transplant operation carried out at Leeds General Infirmary.
They're my hands. They really are my hands. My blood's going through them. My tendons are attached. My nerves. And they're mine. But I couldn't wish for anything better. It's better than any lottery win because you feel whole again.
Chris lost the fingers on both his hands in an accident at work 3 years ago. He'd been operating a metal pressing machine at the time. He had resigned himself to living without them, but now he's looking forward to holding a pint of his favourite tipple.
And a bottle of Timothy Taylor's, that's what I can't wait to get back for. Lovely beer. I'm looking forward to being able to ride my bike properly and use my petrol mower. I have a self-propelled mower.
The operation to attach Chris's new donor hands was a long and complex one. First, surgeons joined the bones of the deceased donor hands using titanium plates and screws. They then connected key tendons, muscles, nerves and vessels before restoring blood supply to the donor hands. And within 10 days, Chris was able to feel and move them. Chris was inspired by Mark Cahill, the first person in the UK to have a hand transplant in 2012. 4 years on, he says it's changed his life.
One of the first things I noticed is that I'd be able to clean myself properly on my own and dry myself. And then your independence slowly comes back from that. And I'm sure Chris will find this even more so with having 2 hands done.
We'll reduce these dressings gradually.
Chris's donor will remain anonymous, but he wanted to publicly thank the man who'd given him this gift.
It's like somebody putting their arm around you and saying, you'll be all right.
Chris still faces months of recovery, but he feels his life has already been transformed. Sejal Karia, ITV News.
Just remarkable. That's all for now. The latest developments on the Munich shootings are on our website.
Nina Hussain will be here with news at 10. But from all the team here, have a good evening.